Welcome to the Division of Tenant Resources Owner Services Unit at the New York City Department of Housing Preservation and Development. We assist owners that are participating in HPD-administered rental subsidy programs, including the Housing Choice Voucher Program commonly known as Section 8. HPD's mission is to provide affordable housing to New Yorkers at all income levels, and one way that we are able to assist low-income New Yorkers is with subsidies. Subsidy programs only work well when they work for the owners that participate, which is why we want to help your business thrive and get your tenants leased up. Let's go over some basics about the program's structure, benefits, and requirements, and then I'll guide you through the paperwork to lease up a Section 8 tenant and receive rental subsidy payments. This video is intended to be helpful and informative. It is not intended as legal advice or a complete explanation of the Section 8 program. Section 8 is a rental subsidy program that is funded by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, and administered locally by housing agencies. In New York City, there are 3 distinct Section 8 programs administered by the New York City Housing Authority, also known as NYCHA, HPD, and the New York State Department of Homes and Community Renewal. All of these programs follow the same set of rules set by HUD, but each has different policies and procedures and is administered separately. The voucher program allows tenants to better compete in the housing market because the subsidy increases their buying power, empowering them to choose where they would like to live. The subsidy also promotes housing stability, particularly in times when incomes are unstable. This is because tenants' contribution toward the rent will be adjusted if they gain or lose income in the household. Let's take a look at the relationship between you, HPD, and a Section 8 tenant. The tenant's responsibilities to HPD are outlined on the voucher. Based on the tenant's report of their income and household composition, HPD calculates the portion of the monthly rent the tenant owes. The tenant portion is generally 30% of the tenant's adjusted household income. The owner enters into a lease agreement with the tenant, which outlines the terms of the tenancy and the contract rent. The owner also enters into a housing assistance payment, or HAP, contract with HPD, which outlines the responsibility of the owner and the agency. To access a blank copy of the HAP contract, you can visit the link at the bottom of the screen. The portion paid by tenants combined with the subsidy that the owners receive from HPD through the HAP contract makes up the entire contract rent for the apartment unit. The first step in the leasing process is to complete an HPD Landlord Package. These documents will be provided to you by the prospective tenant, the voucher holder. This package can seem like a lot of information, but it's required to get us started. Let's walk through it step by step.
First and foremost, be sure to read everything thoroughly and carefully. The checklist is provided to guide you through the supporting documentation that is required and indicates which items are needed, only if applicable to your particular apartment. Let's turn the page and go to Section 8. This is where you'll find the tenant and unit information. Be sure to fill in every blank and check every box that applies to your tenant and building. In Section B, C, and D, we collect information regarding the rent that you would like to receive for the apartment. You will need to propose the monthly rent that you believe is reasonable for the apartment. This amount, if approved, is the amount that you will receive including both HPD's share and the tenant's share. If there is any other fee that the tenant will be charged outside of rent, it also must be reasonable and must be listed in this section of the Landlord Package. When deciding the rent that will be proposed, it is important for you to consider the Hpd Payment Standard. The payment standard is the maximum subsidy that HPD may pay on behalf of the assisted household. There is a current payment standard chart included in the back of the Landlord Package, and it is available on our website at the link below. You will see that the household has been issued a voucher that has the unit size that they are eligible for listed on it. If the rent that you are proposing exceeds the payment standard for the family voucher size, the tenant will pay the excess rent as part of their tenant contribution. However, federal regulations prohibits the tenant contribution from exceeding 40% of the household's monthly adjusted income at the initial leasing. Now let's take a look at Section C, which is also about the proposed rent. Hpd must confirm that the rent you request for the apartment is reasonable compared to similar unassisted units in the same market area. Additionally, the rent for the apartment may not be more than what you receive for similar apartments in the building or development. We also need to confirm the maximum legal rent of the apartment, which will be determined by any type of assistance or restrictions that apply to the apartment. The required documentation differs between rent stabilized or rent controlled units, market rate units, and government regulated units. So, in Section C, please indicate if the building or apartment is associated with any of the listed programs. Provide the appropriate documentation indicated. If you have information about similar unsubsidized units in the same building or neighborhood, you have the option of providing this information to Hpd in Section D. The information on the assisted apartment, the apartment you wish to lease to the Section A participant, is required. The information on the comparable apartments is optional. Section E provides Hpd with information about the owner, so we can confirm that you are eligible to participate in Section A. Please note that the property owners may not be close family relatives of the tenant, except in limited circumstances, and owners must not be barred from participating in federal programs. Property ownership can come in many forms, but Hpd will only make subsidy payments to the person or legal entity that holds the deed. If there is more than one party listed on the deed, the owners will need to elect to make one person the hat payee. This decision must be documented in writing to Hpd, signed by both parties and notarized.
Sections F and G include required owner signatures. Section F is a statement of understanding for owners. Please make sure to read the 7 statements and sign with your acknowledgement. Also be sure to sign the certification statement in Section G, which certifies that all information and documentation submitted in this package is true. The next page in the package is a required HUD form called the Request for Tenancy Approval Form, often referred to in acronym as a RAFTA. This form must be completed with all information requested and must be signed by both the owner and tenant. One of the trickiest and most important parts of this form is the designations of types of utilities and the responsibility for paying for utilities in the apartment. If the owner will be responsible, indicate that with an O. And if the tenant is responsible, indicate that with a T. The information on this form must be consistent with the information in the tenant's lease agreement. Please pay close attention to the completion of this form. The following page is the lead-based paint disclosure form. This form must be completed by owners and tenants for all assisted units. The option that applies to the apartment or dwelling unit should be indicated, and the form must be signed by both owner and tenant. Now we will discuss what is required in order to receive payments from Hpd. The rental subsidy payments that you will receive will not come directly from Hpd. Payments are issued to Hpd's participating owners in cooperation with the New York City Comptroller's Office and the New York City Department of Finance. In order to receive payments from the City of New York, you will need to receive a vendor code. In order to receive a vendor code, you must complete a City of New York Substitute W-9 form, the most current version, and provide supporting documentation with your tax ID or Social Security number. Before you start completing the Substitute W-9 form, you will need to get your supporting documentation. If you are an individual, this will be your Social Security card. If the ownership is a business entity such as a corporation, you will need what is called an EIN letter from the IRS. This may be Form SS-4 or more likely the 147C letter. The documentation needs to be submitted with the landlord package to be complete, as you can see on the checklist. If you are concerned about providing this sensitive information with the package, you may supply it directly to the Owner Services Unit by fax or email using the contact information below.
On the substitute W-9, the owner or landlord is referred to as the vendor. Instructions for this form are on the back of the form, and there are a few important points that we'll discuss here. You should fill out the substitute W-9 form with your name or the business name exactly as it appears on your supporting documentation, either your Social Security card or IRS letter. Under Entity Type, in Part 1, check the option that best applies. In Part 2, enter your tax ID number or TIN. This number could either be your employee ID number, Social Security number, or individual taxpayer ID number. If you look here on your 147C letter, SS4, or Social Security card, you will see which type of number you have and what to enter into the boxes. Please do not include dashes. Part 3 asks you to enter various addresses. Your 1099 address and account administrator address are the same. We're sorry that you have to write it twice. The address is provided for 1099 and account administrator cannot be a P.O. Box address or a mail drop service. If you would like your housing assistance payments to be deposited directly into your bank account, you must fill out the Electronic Funds Transfer EFT form or enroll in the New York City Department of Finance's website. Otherwise, you will receive your HAP via a check mailed to the address you provided in the package. If you do not enroll in EFT, the NYC Department of Finance will charge you a paper check fee for each check printed that will be debited from your payments on a quarterly basis. You will find a section of yellow pages at the back of the Landlord Package. Please keep these for your future reference when you return the rest of the completed package to Hpd. Once your completed Landlord Package is approved and processed, you will be contacted by an inspector scheduler to arrange a date and time for a housing quality standards inspections. After the apartment passes inspection, Hpd will send you a HAP contract and the tenant notice of approval to move into the apartment. Once you have received your first payment from Hpd, you will be eligible to enroll in the DTR Partner Portal. This website allows you to view information related to the status of any Hpd Section 8 subsidized apartments. To request enrollment, please send an email to the address on your screen and give the address of the apartment that you own.
We hope you found this information helpful. If you have additional questions, you can reach our Client and Owner Services office by the phone number or email address listed on your screen. Thank you for your time and your interest in the Hpd Section 8 program.